All right. Good morning, everyone. So I hope everyone's been enjoying their holidays as much as I have been. I kind of took some time off from the channel too, so I'm feeling a little rusty on Character Animator. I thought today that we could work on head and body turner. I've imported the artwork already, but we might want to take a look at how it's set up in Illustrator. So I've got frontal group, and inside that I've got head, body, and back hair like normal. In head, I've got right profile, right quarter, frontal, left profile, left quarter, upward and downward. Body, I've got all the views, and then back hair, I've also got all the views. Yeah, so I guess we can just get straight to rigging. So I'm just going to start off like normal. So first thing, I'll rename my behaviors. Torso. I'm going to rename my dragger to right hand. And I'm going to add some draggers. So I'm going to add for left hand, left leg, right leg, and up down. We can just go rename them here. And I'm just putting the R in. It's just a little easier when I'm animating if they're all together on the timeline, so they all start with R. Okay. And while we're in torso, we might as well turn off the floaties. 0, 0, 30 is my default settings. Okay, so front I want tagged as front and also as a head. Head I want tagged as head, and I'm going to add face behavior to that, and I'm going to attach it where I want it to pivot, and then I'm going to do the same with back hair. I'm going to call it a head. I'm going to add face behavior and attach it where I want it to pivot. Then inside head, I'm also going to open it up and add face behavior to all of those. And then I'm going to take all those face behaviors, go 0, 0, and then on these ones, I'm also going to turn up the parallax, I think. And then I'm going to do the same for back hair. So I'm going to add face behavior to all of these. And then I'm going to turn off all the floaties. And then I don't think I need to add parallax to these because that's just moving the features around. Okay. So body, let's start on frontal. So we'll attach our left arm. Let's zoom in so we can see what we're doing. S for the stick tool. Don't forget to tag that as elbow. I'm going to go into the forearms. V for the arrow tool. L for the handle tool that I always call dragger tool. Definitely feeling rusty, even just with a few days off. Whoops. Off Character Animator. You know what's the other thing I should be doing? is hiding all of these to make sure I've got everything in the right spot. Sorry, I just realized the arms are always in different spots on the different views, so it's not a bad idea to hide the layers that you're not working on. It can get confusing with all the levels. Okay, let's do the legs. Make the heels draggable. And we'll have to do this for each view. Before I forget, let's go up to here. I'm going to add auto blink, and I'm going to add limb IK. On the head layer, I'm going to add head and body turner. I'm going to do the same on the body layer, and I'm going to do the same on back hair. Just make sure, yeah, that's detecting, and that's detecting. Okay, good. Okay, so frontal, the last thing we need to do is add the body tags. And then we'll do the same for all of right quarter. I might try fast forwarding when I'm not talking. So I might not be talking as much as normal in this one because it'll be a long video and a little bit repetitive because you have to do the same thing for each view. But once you've seen me rig the front view, I don't know how much you want to watch me rig all the other views. Okay, let's do the legs.
sorry for the computer, super loud. Okay, microphone done. Oops. Don't forget body tags. Last one.
Okay, and we still have all our swap sets and everything to do, but at this stage I usually like to pull it onto the stage and just see if I've forgotten anything. So hopefully she's not floating around. And she should turn. She just shouldn't have, we should still be able to see all her forearms and hands and everything. Nice, so she's not floating around or anything. Great, so draggers are working from all the views. Nice, okay, so let's go back in and make all our swap sets. So we can start with the big one. If you want to be able to turn the head as a swap set, we can pull in head and create swap set, and then we'll have to add in our back hair. And then we can also do the same with the body. So now I'll be able to also use the keyboard to turn and to turn individually if we turn off camera. So head, first thing we'll do, I guess, is the brow set. I'm sorry, I forgot to get rid of my tablet. Okay, so pull in your first brow. We'll call this brows. And we'll pull in our left eyebrow. And we'll do that for every head. I'm not going to do all the masks and everything on the head because I've done that on video before, but it's worth redoing the swap sets, I think, just for the way it looks for the brows. Okay, that's right quarter. We'll add our frontal brows. Sorry, I'm a little distracted by the tablet thing in there. Down and up. Left profile. Wild. It's not super hard to rig head and body turner, but it takes quite a bit longer. It's just a bit more repetitive, and you have to stay quite organized and kind of know what you're working on. Left eyebrow, right eyebrow. So if we do our brows this way, we'll only have one line for brows when we're animating. That's one thing I find kind of cumbersome about a head and body turner. When you're animating, your timeline can get crazy. So I try to do as many things like this that will leave us with a single line in the timeline, no matter which way the head is faced. And last one for brows. Okay, I'm going to choose default as my default. I'll make surprised 1. Okay, then let's go into body and start making our arm swap set. So first thing I'm going to do is my left forearm. So I'm going to create swap set by pulling that in and call it left forearm. And then I'm going to go to each view and pull in my left forearms. So 5 will go into 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And I'll do that for each view. Left quarter, left arm, left forearm. And left profile. Okay, so let's call this one B and latch. And now we'll do our left hand. So let's go back to frontal forearm number 5 and pull in hands. We'll call this left hands. And we'll have to pull in all the other hands the same way we did the brows. but we're going to have to do it for each view. So yeah, you don't want 27 hands if in your swap set if you can get away with 6. So default, oops, make sure you drop everything in the right spot. Okay, so that's frontal view. Now we have to go into right quarter and add all the right quarter hands in. This might be very tedious watch. So I might fast forward this part as well. If I can figure out how to do that. And if we do this correctly, the correct hand should show no matter what forearm and no matter what body view. And we'll still only have a single line in our timeline for hands. Oops. Okay, right quarter done. There might be an easier way to do this. Like, I have read about like shared assets. So there might be a less tedious way of doing it, but this is the way I've learned how to do it, so this is how I do it. But in the comments, yeah, if you know a better, more efficient way of doing this, I'd love to know.
Okay, let's set time.
Okay, let's make open up L and latch, and then we can go back and check that we did that right. I might not do the right hand, just it's kind of tedious watching people create swap sets once you get the idea. So there's It stays in all the views, which is awesome. And it stays in all the views, which is awesome. So another thing that I wasn't crazy about is that when you turn, you always have to reset the dragger. And since they've added leader-follower behavior, there's kind of a workaround for that. So one thing we can do, let's go back to frontal, and I'm going to find my left wrist, and I'm going to select it, and I'm going to call it R left hand. Exactly what I called the dragger for the left hand. And you can name it by selecting it and hitting enter. And then the other thing I'm going to do is call that leader. And then I'm going to go to my other views. So let's go to right quarter, left arm, left wrist. We'll select it, call it our left hand, and we'll call it follower. Enter, and follower, and last one, enter, follower, and then the last thing I'm going to do is add leader follower behavior. And now when I go into the scene and I move that dragger, I'll just give it a second to catch up, and I turn, the dragger remembers where it was. It's not perfect because it doesn't always, it doesn't stay in relation to the puppet, it stays in relation to the scene. So you can see sometimes it doesn't go where you'd expect, but it does give you a single line in your timeline. So you have a single dragger line instead of 3 dragger lines. Like with this one, you'd need to set a rest pose, set a rest pose, set a rest pose. So yeah, if I was going to use body turner, I would probably set my arms up like that. So here we'll get everything on the timeline. So the first thing I would do is turn off everything, go to the beginning of my timeline, turn on triggers, and do one of each. So I only have left hand and brows done. Oops, brows I didn't set to latch. Hang on. And I didn't do the cycle frames. But anyway, you'd get all your triggers on your timeline by selecting them all and hitting Control 2. Oh, I didn't get my... There we go. Hitting Control 2. Pulling them out the whole length of the timeline. And then I just delete like this. And then to set up my rest pose, I would do it the same as normal. So R left hand, and I would set it up like normal, and you get only a single line. And then no matter which view you're in later to do your take, so that when you turn everything on, you turn off triggers, draggers would be done probably, lip sync would be done, eye gaze would be done, and then you do your like that, and you'd still only have a single line. But But if you wanted to do the left arm now, let's turn over, or sorry, the right arm. So right hand. And let's set the rest pose for the right hand. How does that play? So let's turn everything off. So yeah, when she turned, you'd have to then turn on your right hand again. Put it to where you think you'd want it to go. And you'd have another right hand line to deal with. So yeah, I would use leader-follower behavior, I think, to control the arms. That's one reason I didn't use body turner much, is I just didn't know how to animate the arms. I thought maybe it was more useful for live stuff, but I think if you use leader-follower behavior on the arms, you'd get only a single line on your timeline, and that would work, wouldn't it? She doesn't turn there. Let's put it here. It doesn't love that jagger when you're turning. Let's play that again with everything turned off. It works pretty good though, and you get a decent timeline. So yeah, I would use leader-follower behavior if I was using body turner at the same time. It's also a little bit of a pain setting up all the swap sets, but they work good. You'd only have a single line for hands, left forearms, right forearms, and brows, no matter which head view you were on. So yeah, if you wanted to do head and body turner with all the swap sets, that is how I would set it up. I hope it wasn't too boring and long, and I hope I managed to fast forward when I'm not talking with some music or something. So anyway, I hope you enjoy the rest of your holidays, everybody. Take care. Thanks for joining me. Bye.